Hey guys, welcome back for another video for I Am Legion. My name is Jason, the creator of the mod, and I'm here with a video showcasing the latest and greatest I Am Legion launcher for the multiplayer tools. So I know the last video didn't go over well because people started running into the issues that everyone runs into trying to sync up these games and play multiplayer. That's part of the process. That's how Techland wrote the games. These are just tools to try to help get you synced up with your friends as fast as possible. Trust me, it sucks when you just don't know. So I will go ahead and mention that if you are just seeing this video and you haven't used the install guide, please make sure you check out the install guide first, because that will actually allow you to understand what the hell you're doing on the launcher and how to get to these different things. You can also use the tutorials that are built into the interface. And if you have any questions about like, well, what did I miss? You can click on the tutorial button to find out more. So let's go ahead and dive in. If you're seeing this, you've already installed the mod, you've already gotten everything set up, and you're trying to play the game with your friends. First and foremost, every single version of the Dead Island games and Dying Light games have always had an intro where you can't play co-op until you complete the intro. So if you're new to the games, welcome. You can't play co-op until you actually play far enough into the game to play co-op. That's not the mod's doing. You got to play the game. So once you get to a certain point, it will let you know that multiplayer has been activated. So once you have multiplayer activated, let's go through just some very basic things here. So you have to have a literal byte-to-byte match between the host and all of the players that want to play with you inside a co-op. What does that mean? That means you can't just run the installer and play the game. Like, you have to sync the literal files between the host and the clients. So for whatever reason, if one person installs the game using my launcher, they run in over here, they press the installer button, and then another person presses the installer button with the exact same options, and they try to connect to each other, it won't let you. It will say you have a data mismatch. So for whatever reason, it's that sensitive. So this tool was designed to help you around that, but also to give you some other basic information about like whether or not you're even playing with somebody that has a compatible game to you. So over here in the far right, you can see an example of where you can't play with this person in general because they have an old version of the game. So you could do it, you're just probably going to have crashes or experience major issues. You should back up your save games before playing with this person. I've set up my tools to where it just won't let you. It'll save time for everyone if you just start fresh. So let's dive in to how to get this hosted, so that you understand. Basically, if you have not logged into the Discord, I highly recommend logging into Discord through the launcher. That saves a lot of time by creating these community hosted sessions, which allows you to very quickly see the different settings that people have, and understand A, if it's compatible, but B, how to get this set up very quickly. So I think they just released an update for the Beast this morning, and so I think probably the best way for you to kind of see this, let me show you what it's doing to the files on the back end so that you have kind of a basic understanding of what this tool does. All this tool does is it collects all of the files. Everybody has to run the installer first. So all the players that want to play together, first you must go run the installer. First thing first. So run the installer, get the mod set up. You don't technically have to select the exact same things. Just make sure that you've run the installer at least one time ever that day, that time when you're trying to get synced up. And then from there, the host will kind of define what settings they want to host with. So as the host, as a player of the mod, you can hot swap any of this stuff at any point. If you want to change the mod difficulty, you just want to go have a good time with your friends and blast guys away and die a lot, you can set to insanity. You can set the different things on, and just hit install and then create a session. So let's go ahead and press install. And once we've done that, let's go over here. So it's gonna update this one in our files. So when I hit, if I don't want to share offline, basically it's gonna create a local, either way, it's gonna create a local file. So it's gonna create this local file for you, and it does include these new instructions that try to tell you exactly what you need to be doing to get this set up. Let me actually zoom in a little bit here so that you guys can see more of the screens here. And then these files, basically all these files are the actual files that you have installed, and then a quick summary of all of the file sizes from the host system. So what that is going to do is that whether you share this with your friends privately, or whether you turn on share via Discord, if you turn on share via Discord, it is going to add it to this list of people that have shared their games, so that you can very quickly go see how they're playing the game. So for example, let me go over to Dying Light 2. So we're going to switch over to Dying Light 2. This one should already have installed content, but I'm saying it's saying no installed content. So let's go ahead and run the installer real quick. And I'll go ahead and switch this game over to, I would do it on the Beast, but they updated this morning, and so because of that, it's going to change the files. So you can see here, as we run the installer, it's setting up the data 2, the data 3, and then when we go to multiplayer tools, if we say host, let's host privately first, we'll say create. It's going to go and it's going to update our little session with all of the files. So it's going to zip everything up for us, and then you can send this to your friend. If you want to share it publicly through Discord, it'll share to this channel so that you can go and see the different ones. So let's pretend that I'm trying to connect to Alex, which I'm not going to do, because you can see here he didn't install the mod before actually running the thing. So none of these files. You can actually go through, and it's getting closer to the point where I can actually see if people are doing it correctly or if they're not doing it correctly. But for example, this is someone who installed correctly. They installed using the launcher. So you can see here that we have the total size, the files, and then the different difficulties and modules. So let's pretend like we're going to join them. So let's go ahead and hit the download button. And when we download, all you have to do is go over to your install location for Dying Light 2. So I have this on some of my other videos, but if you're trying to figure out where the hell that is and you want a fast way to get there, you can go to Steam or Epic and say browse local files, and it will open a folder with that. But you can also open that folder using the launcher. So over here in the launcher, there is the open co-op folder button. And so if you open that co-op folder, it will open this folder. You can copy that in, hit paste, and then hit save. So once you've hit save, you do need to go and hit refresh. Basically, the only reason for that is so that it's not constantly checking that folder. That would use up a lot of resources for no reason, especially for people who are not playing co-op. So if we go in here, we can see we've now added their session to the launcher. If we hit activate, let's see what happens here. So it's going to let us know it's creating a backup of our files. So these files that you've already installed on your system, it's going to create a backup of those. It's going to extract that new pack that we just downloaded, and it's going to replace these files. So if we hit activate here, it's going to replace those files. So it did replace the data 2 and it replaced the data 3. So we have it set up. Well, you can see here that we had sync issues. So when trying to activate to this person, we had some different sync issues. So let's go check out what those are. So essentially, this is where we can now start to see like what is missing. So the problem is that the host has a bunch of files that we don't. So say for example, it looks like they're using a multiplayer mod that's online that allows you to play with any mods installed. You can see here that they have the development tools installed. Let's see, we've got some things set up here. That's fun. Those are a couple of I Am Legion tests. That's fun. Sorry for whoever's host this was, but they have a couple of different things here. They've got a JSON, they've got some placeholders, but all of these files could be potential reasons that it's flagged to say it can't match the files. And so because these are Actually, it's the other way. So I got that backwards. I apologize. So it says not in host session. So these are things that I have that they don't have. I'm sorry, I flipped that around. So not in host session. So these are extra files on my system that they don't have, including DirectX 11. Now, does that mean that we cannot join each other? No, it doesn't. So you could potentially, if you both installed the files and you got all this stuff set up, you could potentially be able to join this person on the game. You would have to launch the game, try to join each other, and see if it works. If it does not work, that's where this tool comes in handy. So, okay, so we tried to set everything up. We sync the files. It's not a match. So what you can do here is go in here and actually, I think we can do this without issue. I'm going to hit delete extra. And what this is going to do is it's going to go wipe out all of those extra files. And honestly, I don't care about any of these extra ones that I have. So I'm going to go ahead and hit delete file. So it's going to go through and it's going to go clean up my entire folder, and we're synced. So everything is now a match between the host and my files. So at this point, if you are not able to connect to your to the other players, things to think of is, are you using a different language inside the game? Like, is one person, so if you go over to Steam, you can go here to properties and then the general. If one person, so basically what I've learned through the process, I haven't been able to talk to the developers of the game, so I don't know this for certain. But basically what I think is happening is that when you add extra files, it starts to do extra checks. And so when you launch the game and it sees that, or it pops up that notification that says you're using modified files, it's doing extra checks on the game now. It's saying what is different. So because of that, it's flagging anything that's different. And I think that's actually what causes the version mismatch and the DLC issues, is because of mods. And so when you go in here, so if one person has a different language, if one person's playing on Danish and one person's playing on English, I don't know if they have Danish on here. they, they don't. So if one person's playing on Italian and the other person's playing on English, and you've gone through this process and you've set everything up, I've had players report that they're not able to join each other's sessions because it says they have a data mismatch. So that is no longer because of the mod itself. It's because the mod, or any mods, is now causing the game to flag extra files. So your language mismatch is causing you to not be able to play together. One of the things I recommend, if you go through this process and you're running into this problem, first make sure everybody's on the same language, which I should include in the documentation. I feel like it's going to confuse people between the mod language and the game language, so I am going to include it in the documentation that says everybody has to be on the same in-game language. And then if it's still not working, what I recommend is that if you deactivate it, it's going to restore your files back to what they were when you ran the installer. What I recommend is to run the installer, clean up all your files so they're all clean. Run file verification on your game. So you can do that by going to install files and say verify integrity of the game. Verify the integrity of the game, let it set everything up. And you're going to have a vanilla save game, because if you've played a save game with modded content and you've now uninstalled your mods, it's going to mess up that save game. So you're going to have to test with a vanilla save game. But I would make sure that first everybody's able to connect to each other and this is only if you can't join each other and you've done all the steps I've already shown you. But if you still can't connect, create a vanilla save game, get past the intro, have everybody join that vanilla save game to make sure that everybody can get in there and not have any problems. Then, as the host, go and only select a difficulty. Select a difficulty, run the installer, and what that's going to do is it's just going to create the data 2, and that is then going to create the data 2, which I apologize. Give me a second here. It's going to create the data 2, and that data 2 can then be shared between all the different other players so that they can use that. That's interesting. I think that there is I'm gonna have to fix it, but I think there is a problem that's happening in the launcher, and I apologize to interrupt the video, but we could be causing people issues, and so I'm only now just seeing this, and so if you're seeing this at a future date, this has been resolved. But as it stands, when I installed that file, this should be around 6 megabytes, and when installing that one difficulty, it ended up being less than 100. So for whatever reason, this file was not extracted properly. And so I'm going to have to add some extra checks to make sure it's building these packed files when in the background when it's running it. And so each time it's building a unique pack file. So anyway, go and host the session with only this difficulty, so that you don't have a bunch of extra files that you're having to figure out, whether or not they work or not. After you've got your vanilla game set up, everybody's joined, send everybody this file with just the difficulty, and then relaunch. Once everybody has added this to their co-op folder, they've confirmed the sync, go and then back to that vanilla game and make sure everybody can get in the session. If everybody can join that game, then, go back to enjoying, go install the other modules, go install the other things, and just repeat the same process. But it is this trial and error of is everybody following the same steps? Because most of the time, I would say most of the time that people have written in and we've gone through the steps and 30 minutes down the road of trial and error testing what happened and why is it not working, it's turned out to be that one of the players didn't run the installer, they didn't hit activate or something, or they're using a different in-game language or something like that. And so because of that, it really does require everyone has to turn their keys at the same time kind of process here. And I apologize that it's that way, but I didn't write the game. It's not my code. This is true of all mods and these games. And so I hope this helps you. A couple other things to just throw out there. If you share via Steam Discord, you can also go over to your Steam and go up here to friends and say add friend. And it'll give you this quick invite link. You can copy that, or you can do your friend code. But if you paste this in here, when you're sharing a co-op session, it will include the actual Discord. In this Discord message, it will include the Steam link, which may save some people some time of trying to add you on Steam and that kind of thing, so that you can get in the game faster. And hopefully that helps you guys, sync this game up faster. I'm sorry that the last video, the last version of the launcher was not as successful at syncing these files and getting everybody merged, but I am really hopeful that this will help you guys clean up your files and get everything set up. Please, looking forward to feedback, looking forward to any of your thoughts. It takes a minute to get everything set up, but that's just the nature of the game. Sadly, in this game, you gotta want it if you want to play multiplayer. So anyway, happy gaming, guys. Hope you have a good weekend, and I'll catch you next time.